Hello, YouTube. Hello, my beautiful, wonderful, amazing, loving subscribers. I know it's been a while, since I posted a full-length video, and that's gonna change tonight. But I know I just posted a few shorts just a day ago, just yesterday. And, but I wanted to get back on here and do another full-length one. And yeah, pardon my hair the way it is. I literally just got out of the shower and I literally just finished brushing it out, combing it. Anyway, I digress. Anyway, I just wanted to get back on here, and I noticed in one of my other videos I mentioned about possibly making another video with regards to my sister and a little bit of our upbringing together, and how she is essentially a narcissist in training. My mother's the narcissist, and she is training my sister, a narcissist in training. So, I wanted to get on here and mention a few things about that, bring out some bullet points, some details on them as well, and then of course, as always, end the video on a more positive, more encouraging, more upbeat attitude and positivity, because this world needs way more positivity right now with the way everything's going on, with the chaos, not just in this country alone, but in other countries around the world, and just the current state of affairs in the entire world. We need more positivity, we need more encouragement, we need more uplifting of each other, and not tearing each other down, and not division like what everyone sees across the world and this country, of course. But once again, I digress. I'm going to get back to the point of this video. I mentioned in my previous video on how I do not like my mother, and for good reason. Sad, but it's for good reason. Nevertheless, I also wanted to bring out the fact that my sister herself, as I previously mentioned in that video, literally third parented me. Even though she's literally less than 3 years older than I am. Less than 2 3/4 years older than me. That's it. Minor age difference, in fact, we're so close in age, we're both a part of the same generation. I would understand it a little bit more if she was from an older generation, but she's not. She's from the same generation I am from, physically born into. I know, and I realize no one can control what generation they're born into. I get that. I realize that. But it's just the mentality. If you, as an individual, are going to start controlling, for the lack of a better term, controlling someone else who's literally your sibling, who's literally a part of the same generation, just less than 3 years younger than yourself, and then you're gonna put yourself on such a high pedestal that you're above your younger sibling. And I get it. I'm the youngest of two. She's my older sister. It was just her and I growing up. That was it. I didn't have any younger siblings because I am the youngest. and the only male. And the last male of my last name. By the way, I thought I'd throw that out there as a fun fact. But, it's just appalling sometimes. Like, her and I, we would get along for the most part. I guarantee I got along better with her than I ever did with my mother. That is blatantly obvious, as those other two videos proved. Absolutely proved. So, with all of that being said, she obviously did not need to third parent me because she was my sister, not my mother. Oh, but she wanted to be the good daughter or the good child, where I was apparently the bad child. Who knows? Yeah, in their mind I was. I guarantee you. Without even point blank asking them. Without even that, I know full well that was always the bad child, the problem child, whatever. So I was the one that always needed the help. I was the one that always needed the prayer. I was always the one that needed everything. I apparently could not do anything on my own without their help. Of course, that's not the case now. Obviously, I do everything for myself now. I'm a 31-year-old adult male. I'm doing everything for myself. Physically, mentally, and socially, sociologically, whatever. In every aspect of my life, I control it. I control it because I have to. Because I need to. It's what a regular, normal, logically thinking-minded adult handles stuff. But anyway, once again, I digress. I need to get back, staying focused here on the issue at hand. See, with my sister, with regards to her, she would be what was called the goody-goody person in school, or just when we're at home or at church or at the park or going out to eat or whatever the case may be. Whatever we were doing, going on a field trip, going on a family trip, family vacation, whatever. She was always the goody-goody child or teenager or offspring of my parents that, like, I was the one that needed to be watched all the time. And I was the one that needed to be corralled or controlled or coerced into or physically forced into doing stuff that my mother and by default my sister wanted me to do. And so it's like, because she was their favorite child, and there's no denying that, there's no holding back on that. My sister was my parents' favorite child. It was completely evident. Whereas they would say otherwise, they would deny it. They'd say I was the favorite because I'm the baby and the only boy and the only male child within my immediate family from my parents. That I just would have so many insecurities because of this. And it was hard growing up under all that pressure of constantly needing correction or punishment or spankings or timeouts or times in the corner. Timeouts. Oh, I hated timeouts when I was younger. In fact, there would be so many times where I literally straight up hate timeouts so much that my mother would just do that knowing that I hated it. Once again, a sign of a narcissist. Doing something. Note this. Another blatant example of a narcissist is doing something when you damn well know that that person that you're doing it to hates it. Blatant example. What I just told you. And it's not cool. It is not cool at all. It's not good. Narcissism, it is a treatable mental illness. It is. But it has to be diagnosed first. And the person that's being diagnosed with it has to actually realize that they have a problem, that they have an issue. And if they never will, because another blatant sign of a narcissist is the fact that in a narcissist's mind, they have zero problems. Zero problems. The rest of the world has all the problems. They're the ones that are perfect in every way. They don't need to change. Because in their mind, they've already made it. They've already attained perfection. Even though in this physical, mortal bodies that we're all in, those of us that are human beings, of course, it's impossible to be physically perfect in an imperfect body. It's just basic logic, basic common sense. And I'm bringing out a few details about how my sister was always my parents' favorite, for one. And two, she was always, like I just said, a third parent to me, even though she's barely older than I am. And yet, she is so emotionally dependent. This woman is 34 years old. 34 years old. She's 3 calendar years older than me, but she's not a full 3 years older than me. I'm 31, she's 34. She's a 34-year-old adult female that is still emotionally dependent on her parents as if she was like 15 years old. Or like 17 at the oldest. And my sister is literally double the age of a 17-year-old right now. Double the age of a 17-year-old. Yet, she, on the surface, it's like she has everything all together. She has her own vehicle, she has her own house, she has a good job, or at least a job that she's been working at for the past 10 years, or however long she's been there, maybe a little longer, I don't know, 12, 15 years, however long, whatever. It's irrelevant, the exact time, but the point is, she's got all these things, quote unquote, air quotes, quote unquote, together, you know, but this is the underlying thing, especially when it comes to her house. Her house is literally only a block down, a block and a half at the farthest, away from the house she grew up in. Her and I both grew up in. She literally lives on the same street as my parents. And some people would say, well, what's wrong with that? Nothing. In theory, there's not a damn thing wrong with living that close to your parents. There's not a single thing wrong with that. The thing that's wrong with that is that because she lives that close, my mother still has control over her. And she's a 34-year-old adult female. Is living on her own. She's got 2 or 3 cats or whatever. She may have a dog by now. I don't know. But like I said, she's got her own vehicle. She's got a full-time job. She even has a side job where she makes more money than her normal, full-time job, of course. But with that being said, on the surface, it looks like she's got everything all together. She's got a good bank account, got a good checking account. Like I said, she checks off all the boxes to make it look like on the surface, only on the surface level, that she's got everything all together. All tied up in a nice, neat little bow. Since it's getting close to Christmas time in less than 3 days. 2 days. 2 days. And, you know, with that being said, I'm actually going to get into, and I'll probably come back to this a little bit more, my details from where my sister and I were growing up, and she was always the one third parenting me. But now I'm going to transition a little bit into some of the experiences early on in my wife and I's relationship. And this, mind you, all of you that are going to watch this video, that the things that I'm about to tell you right now was literally right as my wife, or my soon-to-be wife, she was still my girlfriend at the time, but my girlfriend, but like a girlfriend that we were seriously in a relationship. We were soon going to be engaged and married, within the year of this example that I'm about to bring up here in a little bit. And these are things that literally my wife is meeting my mother and my sister for the very first time, or at least my mother for the very first time. She had technically met, obviously, me and my sister and my dad before, but this was the first time she'd ever met my mother. And Grant, my soon-to-be wife, my wife now, she was going into this, going back with me to, meet my parents, to, have some sort of a relationship with her. She was going into that with a positive thinking, a positive mindset to be able to try to have some sort of a relationship with my mother, which makes sense, because that's what I did with her side of the family, with my wife's side of the family. Anyway, one of the first things that my sister, now transitioning into the experience that my wife had with my sister for the very first time, at least the first time since her and I started dating. And this was several years ago now. This was way back in like August of 2013. It was well over 10 years ago now. So, over a decade has passed now, and of course now I'm just now coming out and talking about it. But that's okay, better late than never, right? But like I said, I got some details here that I'm about to go over, actually, right now. And I went over this with my wife. We kind of were just mentioning and talking about it a little bit before I was going to film and ultimately post this video tonight, or extremely early morning, that and my sister oddly was really, really standoffish, to my soon-to-be wife at that point. What was going to be her sister-in-law. And she just was She was just so standoffish and very rude, frankly. And, like, my wife was the problem. She was making it such an issue that my wife was feeling like she was the problem. My girlfriend at the time. But like I said, my wife now. And sadly, because like what I just said earlier in the same video here, my sister is a narcissist in training, being trained by a world-class narcissist herself, my mother. She cannot have any independent thought outside of herself. She has to have the thoughts of my mother control her thoughts every single day, which is scary to think about. You think AI is bad enough, and it is at times. But oh God, my mother controlling one person. Oh God. And she had me under her control for the first well over 22 years of my life. And I literally was just able to break away from that stuff 9 years ago. Back in March of 2014. But, and because she can't have any independent thought apart from what her mother thinks, she just thought my wife was someone who wasn't going to be in a serious relationship with her brother, me, and that it was like no more than just this little fling that wasn't going to last, and that it was because, sadly, this is sad but true, my mother and sister secretly didn't even want my relationship with my ultimate wife right now to work out, because they both secretly wanted me to stay with my ex-girlfriend. They clearly did not work out. She wasn't right for me. I was not right for her. We just were not right for each other, and the relationship was going nowhere. Hell, we were only together for 19 months anyway. I mean, yeah, that seems like a long time, but we were both still young and immature, and we weren't right for each other. And we said a lot of stupid, petty stuff that we may have ultimately not meant for the long term, but at the time we meant it. Of course we did. Most of the time, if people say something, they mean it. And if they say they don't, they're a fool. They're a fool, because if you're saying something you don't mean, why are you saying it? That's what a fool does. That's what a fool does. Anyway, getting back to on point. And sadly, once again, my sister would think that two grown adults, because this was 10 years ago, but we were still adults even then. We were young adults, but adults nevertheless. We were 21 and 22 years old, respectively. And my sister was thinking that two grown-ass adults in a mature dating relationship, that we were, dating with the intention of being engaged and ultimately getting married, of course, which that's ultimately what happened. And that even though we weren't married yet, that we were just dating at the time, that we needed to be supervised or chaperoned at every moment, we couldn't have one moment together without somebody being there. My sister most of the time, and my mother a lot of the times too. And, because we never have any privacy at all, hardly ever. And even to extreme degrees when it comes to that, as well as, just basic human decency. See, sometimes my parents, more specifically my mother and my sister, who is not my parent, but, she acted like my parent at times. Yeah, she would even get on me, just as a side note, my sister would even get on me as if she was my parent. And, she would be disappointed in me as if my actions have any reflection on her. They have zero reflection on my sister. Just to let you know. Zero reflection on my sister. My actions reflect on me and me alone. That's it. And she would never leave us alone when we were dating there. And my wife, my soon-to-be wife, at that point was coming there, where I was originally from, to be with me. She wasn't coming there ultimately to be with my sister, physically be with her, physically be with my mother. Of course, there were times where I had to go to work, of course. So there were times where she had to be around only my mother or only my sister at times. But thankfully, it wasn't all day long. It was only when I was at work. And then as soon as I got off, I came right back home and I was right back with her again. And, because my sister would not have that basic human decency or respect, which is ultimately something that people who are in a serious relationship should be given. Really, just everybody in general should be given just basic human decency for the fact that we're all human beings. And the fact that we're all human beings proves that we're all imperfect creatures, that we're all imperfect beings, and that we try to strive to be good people and good for society and not destroying society or destroying whatever, buildings, vehicles, streets, burning everything up. No, that's not what a good society does. That's when society is starting to break down into anarchy. But I digress. I'm gonna stay on topic more. Here, but because sadly, once again, my sister didn't approve of my relationship with my girlfriend at that point. Like I said before, because she would have rather me end up with my ex-girlfriend. You know why? Because my ex-girlfriend was literally my mother 2.0. My mother 2.0. That's why they got along so damn well. That's why they got along so well. So freaking well. Because they were all 2 peas in a pod, or 3 peas in a pod if you include my sister in the mix. But because my sister made it up in her brain that the relationship was going nowhere and that it wasn't going to ultimately end up anything besides, like I said before, just like a summer, winter, fall fling, whatever. Fall fling. It's just mind-blowing how an adult human being, whoever it is, can be so controlled by just one person and never have any independent thoughts on their own at all. It's mind-blowing. That's why I physically had to remove myself from this situation, or I would be stuck in the same place that my sister is right now. Only worse, because there's probably a good chance I'd be probably going from one dead-end job to the next, to the next, to the next, and barely making it, probably stuck living at my sister's house, which is, once again, just barely down from our parents' house, a block and a half down the street, same exact street, different address, but same exact street. Because she doesn't think for herself, she just blindly went along with all of the nonsense that my mother was putting out there for my wife. And it just pisses me off when I start reminiscing, going over this in my brain and my mind. Sometimes I've literally, for the sake of my psyche, fortunately, I've actually put some of these terrible memories, just put them so far deep down in my subconscious that I almost totally forgot about them. Not completely, not totally, but I almost forgot about them. Because sometimes it's a coping mechanism, it's a healing mechanism, frankly. It's something that you have to do to be able to survive a narcissist. I got a couple more points here before I end this video in the extreme early morning hours. Once again, as a side note, I know I already said it, but I'm also on here to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, in case I don't post anything before the New Year. I may, but just in case if I don't, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Boxing Day. Hail the Queen, hail the King in England. Happy Christmas over there in the UK as well. I love y'all over there in the UK, by the way. I have some of my ancestors were from England, so, I love everybody. Shout out to people from Canada. Shout out to people from England. Shout out to your good old US of A. As you can see, the flag and the eagle back there as well, and the other flag over here. Yep. But anyway, getting back to these last 2 points here, so I can wrap this video up, because I know it's been going on for a little over half an hour now. But these last 2 points is, my sister, once again, she got so mad that this one time that her and I, my wife and I, no, my girlfriend and I at the time, went on a walk by ourselves so that we could get away from some of the nonsense, like I used the term nonsense before, to just to get away, just to have a breather, physical, mental, and every socially in every way that we could. And it was she was, my sister was being a major bitch because she is literally getting mad at my girlfriend at the time for us just wanting to take a walk and get away from her and my mother and my father, who was just stressing all this out, causing problems, causing chaos, religious chaos, political chaos, relationship, family chaos, everything. We just needed to get away. In fact, she went as far as to, because my sister had been staying in, my wife had been staying in my sister's room, that she pulled out the air mattress and had it all ready for her to sleep there in her room on the floor. But then she stupidly just deflated it after this happened. And then she just wouldn't talk to her. And she was making my wife feel so bad that we literally just had to go on a walk. Like, what is wrong with going on a freaking walk? It was like 30, 40 degrees outside in freaking November. It's like they thought, something else was going to happen outside in public. Yeah, I'll just let your mind wander. But they thought it. Sadly. But she made her feel so bad that she refused to look at her or talk to her, because apparently that was such a huge offense to her for some stupid reason. And then the worst of all was that my wife was put in such a bad position at the time that she felt like she had to apologize to my sister, even though she did nothing wrong. Which she didn't. But that she was just put in such a bad position that she really felt like she had no choice but to apologize. And it's totally and completely and utterly sad. Really, it is. It is. It's truly freaking sad. And once again, it was cold. It was freaking late November. It was like November 22nd, 23rd, 24th, somewhere in there, 2013. So it was like around Thanksgiving time, 2013. It's like, what did they think, we were gonna do it outside? Hell no. We're not like that. Hey, if you're into that stuff, so be it. You do you. But, I'm not into that stuff. And my girlfriend at the time wasn't either. My wife now. And it's just, oh my gosh, it was just such a terrible situation that my soon-to-be wife at that point was even put in, because of, once again, my narcissist in training sister. And it's like a lot of the times I just gotta throw my hands up and say, I don't know. I truly don't even freaking know. Because to this day, her and I don't even have much of a relationship anymore, if at all, because of all these things that have happened. And that's, once again, that's literally just scratching the surface. Just the tip of the iceberg. There's much more things that I could go into in detail, but once again, there's not enough time in the day, there's not enough time in this video, there's not enough time in the entire year or an entire lifetime. I'd have to write a book of all the little details, and even then, it'd be like War and Peace. It'd be this huge-ass book that has, 1,000 pages or thousands of pages or whatever. And who knows who would even read it at that point. I would, of course, because I'm the one writing it. Of course I would read it. I'd have to read it. But anyway, I need to wrap up this video here and put it in a nice little bow for Christmas time, of course. But once again, trying to bring everything back to more of a positive outlook. You need to always don't let anyone control you at all. If you find yourself in a situation like I was in at that point, sometimes the only way you can deal with it is the way I had to deal with it, is to physically remove myself from the situation. Physically remove myself from my parents' household at that point. My boyhood home up to the age of 22. I lived there for a long time, but it was time to go. It was a long time to go at that point. But, like I said, do not let anyone dictate to you what you need to do with your life. Don't let anybody do that. You are in control of your life. You can't blame anyone else. The blame is on me or on you or whoever the blame goes on. But we can't blame anyone else. The blame is on ourselves. If we have these issues, and we all do, we all have issues, we all have things we got to work through, we all have things that we need to specifically work through. And I know I still have a lot of stuff I got to work through before I ultimately get to that point in my life where I'm just good and there's at least somewhat of a peaceful situation. Right now it's more calm or quiet than peaceful, at least when it comes to my parents and sister. But anyway, I always want to be uplifting and encouraging and stay positive, and don't let anyone step on your dreams and crush your dreams, destroy your dreams. Grab the bull by the horns, grab your dreams, and never let them go. Never let them go. And I know I'm preaching myself. I'm talking to myself. I need to hear these. I truly need to hear these words, just like everybody else does. And with that being said, I love everybody. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all of my beautiful, wonderful subscribers. Once again, I would not be here without all of you and all of your support. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, that's fine too. But I would greatly appreciate the support. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing. Because the more subscribers I get, the more my content can reach others, the people that need to hear these messages, these little nuggets of truth. And as always, I appreciate the views, I appreciate the comments. Yeah, go and comment down on this video as well. I love seeing the comments, and sometimes I even respond to them. And, or if nothing else, I at least give y'all a thumbs up as well. Like the comments. And feel free to share and all that with these videos. And as always, I love everybody. Appreciate everybody. And God bless everyone. Truly, God bless everyone. And I really do believe we're going to make it. As a community, as a country, and as a world community. I do truly believe that we will make it one of these days. We will. Because I do have faith. I have faith in God, and I have faith in a higher power than myself. Because if I didn't, oh God, terrible. My life would be terrible, miserable. I mean, in some cases it is already, but it'd be a lot worse if I didn't have any faith in anything. We have nothing without belief and without faith. We have nothing. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. I love everybody. Without the point of sounding like a broken record, I really, truly do love everyone. I don't hate a living soul. I don't hate anyone. My mother included. I even love her too. I just don't like her sometimes. Just don't like the way she controlled me. Even up into my adult years, that's the issue. Being controlled when you're already an adult. Nobody ever should be controlling you while you are an adult. Don't let anybody control you while you're an adult. With children, that's another story. But we're not going to get into that. Alrighty. God bless you. I love you. Take care. And Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy holidays to everyone. And good night and goodbye. Good morning, depending on where you are on the planet. Good night. Goodbye. Bye.